Good morning, everyone. Dear students, in our English class, today we will discuss part number 1 from chapter number 3, two stories about flying. And today we will discuss first part of this chapter, his first flight. This short story is written by Liam O'Flaherty. So let's discuss about the life of the writer. Liam O'Flaherty was born on August 28, 1896 in Ireland and demised on September 7, 1984. His works combine brutal naturalism, psychological analysis, poetry, and biting style with an abiding respect for the courage and persistence of the Irish. He was a novelist and a short story writer and one of the foremost socialist writers in the first part of the 20th century. In this story, a young seagull is afraid to fly. How does he conquer his fear? So, in this story, we will read about the first flight taken by this young seagull. Dear student, this story, his first flight, is a true parable about overcoming fears in life. Every journey of 1,000 miles begins with but a single step. But that single step is the most difficult one to make. Conquer the fear and venture forth, and we realize that we were born with wings. So, this is a glossary for the chapter, and let's start with the summary of this chapter. The young seagull was alone on his legs. His two brothers and sister had already flown away. He also wanted to fly, but he was not able to muster so much courage to take his flight. And in other words, we can say that he had fear of flying. His brothers and sister flew, and on seeing that, he became disappointed. His father and mother came near him. They called him to fly. Even they scolded him, rebuked him, and they also threatened him that if he did not fly, he would die of hunger there. That was 24 hours ago. Since then, no one had come near him. He had watched his parents, brothers, and sister flying. His parents had been perfecting his brothers and sister how to dive for fish. They called him to fly, but he could not. Moreover, the sun was rising in the sky. It was scorching heat there. That's why he felt it, as he had not eaten since the previous night. Mother reaches near him with food. The seagull closed his eyes, standing on one leg. He had the other leg hidden under his wing. He pretended to sleep, but his parents did not look at him. However, his mother was looking at him. He saw her tearing fish. He gave out a sound to get it, and in response, his mother also made a sound and looked at him. His mother picked a piece of the fish. She flew across to him with it. He leaned out, tapping the rock with his feet. His mother flew across, trying to get nearer to him. The sight of food maddened him. Dives for food. The seagull waited a moment in surprise. He wondered why his mother did not come nearer. He was so mad with hunger that he dived at the fish. He fell outwards with a scream and downwards into space. His mother had swooped upwards. As he passed beneath her, he heard the swish of her wings. Flight begins. Then a great fear caught him. His heart stood still. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a moment. The next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards. He felt the wind rust against his breast feathers. Then it rushed under his stomach and against his wings. He was not falling headlong now. He was soaring slowly downwards and upwards. He was no longer afraid of flying. Joy of flight. The seagull gave out a joyous scream. He soared higher, calling. His mother gave out a sound. Then his father flew over him screaming. Then he saw his brothers and sister flying around him. They were roaring and diving. The scene around. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly. He commended himself to dive and soar. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it. He saw a vast green sea beneath him. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on this green surface of water ahead of him. They were calling him to do the same thing. Lands on the surface of the water. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea, but his legs sank into it. He cried with fear. He tried to rise again flapping his wings, but he was tired and weak with hunger. He could not rise. His feet sank into the green sea, his belly touched it, and he sank no further. He was floating on it. Around him was his family, crying and praising him, and they all were offering him scraps of dogfish because he was successful in taking his first flight. So, dear student, we all saw that at first the young seagull was not ready to make any effort to fly, and his family members started teasing him. After some time, when his mother came with a piece of fish, but she did not offer him at that time, the sight of the food maddened him, and he was compelled to take his first step towards flying. And at last, he was successful in doing it. Same happens in our life also. If we are ready to take our first step, then definitely it will become easier to get our destination. So, thank you. Have a nice day, everyone.